This is Land of Havilah, Jeremiah 43. In the last chapter, the remnant of the Jews came to Jeremiah wanting a word from Yahweh. Jeremiah prayed, and after 10 days Yahweh answered that they could stay in the land and he would protect them, but if they don't listen and flee to Egypt, they'll be caught up in famine, pestilence, and sword. When Jeremiah delivered that word, verse 1. When Jeremiah had finished speaking to all the people all the words of Yahweh their God, with which Yahweh their God had sent him to them, even all these words, then Azariah the son of Hoshea, Johanan the son of Kareah, and all the proud men spoke, saying to Jeremiah, You speak falsely. Yahweh our God has not sent you to say, You shall not go into Egypt to live there. But Baruch the son of Neriah has turned you against us, to deliver us into the hand of the Chaldeans, that they may put us to death and carry us away captive to Babylon. So Johanan the son of Kareah and all the captains of the forces and all the people didn't obey Yahweh's voice to dwell in the land of Judah. But Johanan the son of Kareah and all the captains of the forces took all the remnant of Judah who had returned from all the nations where they had been driven to live in the land of Judah, the men and the women and the children and the king's daughters, and every person whom Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, had left with Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, and Jeremiah the prophet, and Baruch the son of Neriah, and they came into the land of Egypt, for they didn't obey Yahweh's voice, and they came to Tahpanhes. Comment in verses 1 to 7, now that the government had been wiped out, the remnant of the military has taken over. Their leaders are called captains of the forces. After pledging ahead of time in the last chapter that they would abide by Yahweh's word, now they say they won't in verses 2 and 3. They believe Jeremiah's friend Baruch has turned Jeremiah against them. They say Jeremiah and Baruch are trying to get them killed or captured by the Babylonians. Therefore, Jeremiah has given them a false prophecy. Baruch is Jeremiah's friend who helped him with the deed of purchase while he was in the court of the guard, and another time he took dictation from Jeremiah and read all his prophecies in the temple. The king didn't like the prophecies, burned them, and ordered that Baruch and Jeremiah be arrested, but Yahweh hid them. So Baruch has served Jeremiah at his great expense, and even now Yahweh has protected Baruch from the war, and he's still close to Jeremiah. In verses 4 to 7, after the captains of the forces said they wouldn't obey the prophecy, they and their men left for Egypt and took many of the Jews with them, including the refugees who had come back, the captives from Mizpah, Baruch, and Jeremiah. We presume most of the people followed them willingly to Egypt and were glad to be under their protection, but they took Baruch and Jeremiah by force. With this migration to Egypt, now Yahweh's word is fulfilled, that he would leave the land desolate, empty, and without inhabitant. After they arrived in Egypt, verse 8, Then Yahweh's word came to Jeremiah in Tahpanhes, saying, Take great stones in your hand and hide them in mortar in the brickwork, which is at the entry of Pharaoh's house in Tahpanhes, in the sight of the men of Judah, and tell them, Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says, Behold, I'll send and take Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and I'll set his throne on these stones that I've hidden, and he'll spread his royal pavilion over them. He'll come and will strike the land of Egypt. Such as are for death will be put to death, such as are for captivity to captivity, and such as are for the sword to the sword. I'll kindle a fire in the houses of the gods of Egypt. He'll burn them and carry them away captive. He'll array himself with the land of Egypt as a shepherd puts on his garment, and he'll go out from there in peace. He'll also break the pillars of Beth Shemesh that is in the land of Egypt, and he'll burn the houses of the gods of Egypt with fire. Comment in verses 8 and 9, Jeremiah is in Tahpanhes of Egypt. Pharaoh was in the process of constructing a brick pavement at the entry of his palace. Yahweh told Jeremiah to take 2 great stones and hide them in the mortar under the brickwork, and to do so in the sight of the men of Judah. So it seems Jeremiah and the Jews are doing Pharaoh's brickwork. It's very similar to the days of slavery in Egypt, and this when they could have been free and prosperous in Judah. In verse 10, Yahweh said, Tell the Jews, I'll send Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, here. He'll spread his royal tent over this brick pavement and set his throne above these 2 great stones. He'll come and conquer this place, and such as are for death will be put to death, and such as are for captivity to captivity, and such as are for the sword to the sword. In verse 12, I'll burn the temples of the gods of Egypt, meaning Yahweh will cause the Babylonians to set fire to their temples. And I'll carry away captive the gods of Egypt, meaning Yahweh will cause the Babylonians to remove the statues of their gods from their temples and carry them away as spoils of war. Nebuchadnezzar will do all that to demoralize the Egyptians and signify his supremacy. In verse 12, Nebuchadnezzar will wear Egypt like a garment and leave in peace, meaning by the time he's finished there'll be no more resistance. He'll grind Egypt down until there's no one to challenge him. And of course the Egyptians won't be able to protect the Jews. In verse 13, Nebuchadnezzar will break the pillars of Beth Shemesh. Beth Shemesh means temple of the sun. The pillars of the Sun Temple are obelisks known to secular history. They were shaped like the Washington Monument. Nebuchadnezzar will break them down as another sign that neither the Egyptians nor their gods can stop him from doing what he wants. The Jews will suffer because they didn't listen, which has always been the case when they didn't listen. Leviticus 26:14-43. Jeremiah 44 is next.